My mom was extremely creative. We planted huge gardens. When it was dinner time, she would tell us what to go pick. We'd just go pick it. We'd bring it in. I remember my mom showing us that instead of using fertilizer, you could cut off the head of fishes and put them in when you're planting plants, and that would be fertilizer. So she was always incorporating history and nature into everything she did. She wasn't a hippie, but we were never really ever allowed to have junk foods. So we had tons of homemade food. I learned how to cook from my mom. I actually baked this in honor of my mom. This is my grandmother's, Czechoslovakian, actually from Bohemia, coffee cake, sour cream coffee cake. So I baked this morning in honor of my mom. We just did tons of projects around the house. Art projects, gardening projects, cooking projects. My mom was really, really interactive with her kids, and it was awesome. I'm going to start over. My mom was one child out of 7 kids. She was the only girl. They grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. At the time it wasn't really suburbs, it was kind of farmland. She went to Catholic schools growing up, and she went to Catholic college, Rosary College. And then she went to Paris in the early 60s, where I think that she really learned a lot about life and really enjoyed herself. My mom in her youth also had kind of a connection to the folk world. One of her college friends was a woman named Judy Henske. I think my uncle actually taught her how to play guitar for the first time. And I remember my mom telling me she was roommates with Judy, and Judy wasn't home, and the doorbell rang, and this like scruffy looking dude showed up, and he said he was like a friend of Judy's boyfriend, and could he spend the night?
Come in, she said, I'll give you.
It turned out to be Bob Zimmerman, who was Bob Dylan. She let him in and then she went out. I was like, why did you just let him in and go out? But that's a whole other story. So my mom really had a diverse and really full early life. When my mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's, she didn't actually tell my brother and I for a number of years. I first realized something was wrong when I was home over Christmas and we were making cookies, and she just had such a hard time with her hands that I knew something was really wrong. And I cried and urged her to go to the doctor to find out what was going on, and then it was only at that point that she told me that she had Parkinson's. I have lived in San Francisco for about 20 years, and my mother lives in Evanston, Illinois, so it's about, I don't know, 2,000 miles and a 4.5-hour plane ride, so it is a big distance, and it's something that weighs on me every single day. I can honestly say that I've never dealt with anything this heavy in my life. I probably go home 4 to 5 times a year, about a week in the winter, a week in the summer, and then trips in between when I'm able to. You know, it's expensive. You know, I don't want to leave my family here, you know, all the time. But I do it because, you know, I love my mom and I want to make sure that she is living the fullest life she possibly can. My mom was able to live with Parkinson's for a long time, and it was a very slow decline. But there became a point where there were many indicators that she needed some help. She had an option of moving to San Francisco with me, but she really wanted to maintain an independent situation, and we found the King Home at Evanston, which she was very excited about. In order to move into the King Home, we needed to hire private aides to help her in the morning get ready and to help her at night go to bed. I was in charge of finding people, and it was really difficult, I have to say, being so far away and just not personally knowing any agencies. My first attempts were very unsuccessful, actually, because when I called any agency that was recommended to me, the minimum was 4 hours at a time. So obviously when you're having people come daily, 7 days a week, it is very expensive. And with the 4-hour minimum, so that would be 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening, which was more than we needed and more than we could afford, I honestly did not know what to do because I could not find a solution. I think I first heard about SASI through a friend of my mom's. I have to say, as soon as I called and I explained the situation, as I had explained many times before to other organizations, I was just ready for, oh, we only have the 4-hour minimum, and that was not the response I got at all. The response on the phone was, I'm sure we can find, some of our caregivers who have flexible schedules who would love this kind of long-term, everyday situation. And from then on, it was seriously smooth sailing. The questions that SASI had for me were very focused and very specific. They obviously knew what they were doing. They understood more about Parkinson's than I expected them to, so that was really a huge thing for me, and they were able to make the match for me. Faye is upbeat. She gets my mom out. Faye really, really understands that we want my mom to have a real sense of freedom in her life to be able to do what she wants to do. It's really a good match because my mom is generally a positive person who really likes to do things, but with her disease, it's just taken so much out of her that having Faye around, not only to take her to do the things that she loves to do, like work in her garden, go to the pottery studio so she can do ceramics, or take long walks, just having somebody to talk to who is also from another culture is really, really interesting for my mom. We so appreciate Faye and everything that she does for my mom. She just supports her on so many ways, physically and emotionally. We wouldn't have found Faye without SASI, there's no way. Because I'm so far away, I appreciate SASI even more. They're a really heartfelt nonprofit organization that I can absolutely count on to find help for my mom. Whether it be something that I know I'm going to need down the line in addition to what we have, or if I have an emergency, I know they have the staff that really cares enough to just make it happen. It's almost like it's their mother or father. I mean, they really feel for their clients and their families. SASI really came through for me.